Welcome, Melvin King, to this podcast. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Odofi. Thanks so much for the long patience because you've been sending message. You've been waiting. I think it's over a year now. So thank you for having me in your podcast. I'm glad to be here and I'm happy to share whatever experience and ready to respond to the things you want to know about me and the things you would like me to share.
Exactly. It's been a year, and I'm glad we were able to do this. All right, Melvin, if you could you please introduce yourself?
Okay. I'm Melvin E. King. I'm a husband and a father to two. My daughter is 10. My son is 11 and is going to be 12 in September. I've been a telecoms engineer for close to 20 years because we graduated 2006, 2007, close to 20 years. I've been in the telecoms industry for years. Started with mobile companies and I'm with the regulator now. And I'm an extrovert, and I would say I'm also into sports. I love sports. At the moment, I'm the national PRO for the Sierra Leone Basketball Federation. And this is about me for my introduction.
Thanks, Melvin. Thanks for that introduction. I didn't know that you're a PRO for a basketball team because when I knew you, you were a football fan. So that's a good revelation there. Time we
Not
met.
a basketball team, Odofi, not a basketball team. The federation, like you have got Sierra Leone Football Association, the basketball federation, the national federation. I'm the national PRO. So you say you know me for you only know me for football. I grew up at Sykes, so I was next to the stadium. There is no sport at the national stadium I didn't try. I started with football. I could swim, basketball. So I was always at the stadium. So, and I was associated with a particular team, the Kano Royals. So when we had the elections last year, I decided to go for a national office. So I'm the national PRO for the federation, the Sierra Leone Basketball Federation.
Oh, oh, thanks for that correction. Thanks for that correction. My bad. Anyway, and by the way, congratulations on that. I think that's a great step on your path. Uh,
Thank you.
Melvin, I was just thinking about, when we met, that I'm gonna take you back a couple of years, back to Fourah Bay College, and we met when we were both in year three. I don't know if you remember as much, but I did remember because there was a group of you guys who joined us for that year. And I think the first thing that I noticed about you, Melvin, was that everybody was saying like mellow, 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 mellow. So in my mind, I was like, who is this guy? Right? And that everybody knows first just joining us and everybody knows this guy. And you know, getting to know you after that, I realized that okay, well, there's more to him just being popular. I mean, I did see right off the bat leadership traits, and also the way how it's easy for you to start talking to people easily, right? I think those are the first things that I noticed about you, and I just wanted to ask you here at this point, like, what was your journey like up to that point in when we met in Fourah Bay College in year three?
Okay, so I actually was born in Freetown. I grew up. I went to the Kingaman Preparatory, then I went to Tawai Municipal. Then I moved over after the selective entrance at that time, not NPSC. I went to the Sierra Leone Grammar School. Did my 5 years at grammar school. After grammar school, when I took the GCU levels, I had an issue with one subject, so I couldn't make my 5 subjects to the university. Then I had this course mentor that spoke to me about what I could do. And it was that same year they started the Access to University for STEMS program at Fourah Bay College. So it suggested you could go to the Access program and get into the university, or you could go to a Milton Magai Congo course and do a polytechnic certifications, like a certificate, a diploma, an HND. And with these certifications, you could be accepted at third year. And he also mentioned that these certifications you'll get hands-on, like it's a polytechnic qualification. It's like 50% technical and 50% theoretical things. So I chose that option. and I went to Millicom course. I did a certificate in electrical and electronics engineering. I did a diploma and I did a HND. When we were in the HND class, interestingly, and I was looking for options to travel abroad and do a master's, because in England and some places with an HND, you'll be accepted straight to a master's program. So I started applying and I was talking to friends and relatives in the UK to see how best they could. I had few acceptance, but then all the other guys in my class, I think we were 15 that completed that HND. All the other guys in our class were like, oh, we're going to buy form for Fourah Bay College. They will accept us as year 3. And it was reluctantly I joined them. You know, you go with the flow. Everybody in the class 15 doing the HND, they say you're going to buy form. Then I decided to go with the flow. Then I bought form. And the requirement for students with an HND to Fourah Bay College was like you getting a credit, and they look back at your GCO levels to see you've got subjects, you got your GCO levels. And whilst I was at Millicom, I tried to do, I took the GCA again to complete my subject. And so out of the 15 that applied, 6 of us were accepted. I'm sure you remember some of the faces: Augustine Brown, Solomon Kebi, few names that were accepted. So that was my journey before Fourah Bay College. So I went to Millicom, did a diploma, a certificate, and during the HND, part of the requirement, we were sent on industrial attachment. So I was sent to Celtel, now Orange, for industrial attachment for 6 months with David Conte. When he went to Fourah Bay College, he changed to civil engineering, and Valentina Thompson. So we were at Orange, Celtel, for industrial attachment. So that's actually was my journey before Fourah Bay College, before we met at year 3. I made this calm, easygoing Odofi.
Anyways, that's a good run up to explaining exactly your experience. And when we're talking about, going to grammar school, right? Grammar school just celebrated 180 years, of being one of the best schools in the country, right? And I was just, it was such a magnificent celebration, that's for sure. But I was just thinking, from your point of view, celebrating 180 years and going to such a prestigious school, like, what was that moment like for you, during that day, marching with your family, having your family supporting you throughout that period? Like, what is it like being a Argentinian?
Odofe, I'll start off with saying everybody wants to be associated with success and excellence. And for a school to be 180 years and have maintained the standards that I could tell you again, I've got friends that went to Prince of Wales Albert Academy, both school, that when their sons and do the NPSC, they want them to go to grammar school because grammar school have maintained the standards. Interestingly, the present principal was my Form 1 class teacher, Mr. Reverend Ken Davis. The vice principal who is acting as the principal was my Form 2 teacher. So the leadership of the school were people I know and I had direct interactions with. As I started, everybody wants to be associated with excellence and success. Grammar school have maintained, and I would give that credit to a person like Mr. Lashite. During his 44 years at the school, he did his best. He maintained standards. There are other good schools, graded schools around the city when we were growing up, but most of them couldn't maintain because of change of leadership. Back in the days when you say Prince of Wales, you see Nelson Williams, it was a good school. After I left, they struggled. The same with Albert Academy, the same with Edwards. But grammar school, because of Mr. Lashite, his presence at the school for that long, the school maintained. So, interestingly again, the last time I celebrated or I participated in grammar school anniversary was 150 years. And I think I was at Form 4 or something, 1995. So I stayed away from all these school activities, but when we started talking about the 180 years coming up, then I said, this is going to be the right time for me to join again. But after my schooling, because of my interest in sports, I've been participating in football competition organized for all pupils. So whenever there are celebrations, like Prince of Wales have their celebration, they will organize a football competition for all pupils. So I'll represent grammar school. So I've been around people that are so associated and so into grammar school activities that I started showing interest. Then when I had my son in 2013, when I looked at his years, seeing him growing up when he will be in secondary school, then I realized, oh, it's going to be in Form 1 when grammar school will be celebrating 180 years. This is going to be the right time for me to match again. Because the last time I celebrated was 150 years, and now we're looking 180. And my son will be in Form 1. So I decided, I started planning it. I was so excited about this moment, celebrating a match with my son, that I decided to do a preamble. Like, I participated in the 179 years, saying this is going to preamble. And next year, when my son is in Form 1, I'll just participate again. So, in summary, grammar school has been doing well. If you could remember, grammar school, the representation of grammar school at Fourah Bay College and the universities was always high. When you go to a place, if you say the student that acquired, that got admission into the Fourah Bay College or universities, in terms of the boys, you will see a good number of Regentonians. So you will always be proud and you'll always be happy to say you're a Regentonian. Everybody wants to be associated to success and excellence.
I agree. I agree. Grammar school always has that track record of producing very good students, right? And you being one of them. And FYI, grammar school would have been my school, but anyways, I ended up going to Liman. But anyways, that's a story for another day. But anyways,
You're actually
Melvin,
an
I just want
associated
to.
Regentonian.
I'll take it. I'll take it. At this point, I'll take it. But anyways, Melvin, I just want to take you to Fourah Bay College again, and I know it was a short stay for you, but right after you graduated, you started working at Millicom, right? If I'm right, it was Millicom you
Yes.
started working,
Yes.
and I just wanted to know, starting off at starting off your career at that young stage, who were your mentors or who did you look up for to learn? You know, because like coming from a college and getting into the workplace was a big difference, big change. And like in my case, I started working at Comium, and I had a few people that I were mentors to me, like Toops, Mr. McFoy, Hassan, Tough. Like in your case, who were your mentors?
Okay. So interestingly again, and when I started working, it was January 15, 2007. Millicom was having this complete overhaul, changing their vendor to ZT. They were rebranding from Millicom to Tigo, just for marketing strategies. And during all this transformation, they decided to employ a bunch of engineers. So 18 of us were employed. On that, my start date, I started with 18 other people. Some were my friends from grammar school. Some were my classmates from Fourah Bay College, like Denzel Crowder and Melvin Temple. Some were my friends around the city. And obviously, all of them were from electrical and electronics engineering. And so a few of them were like 2 or 3 years ahead of us. And some had experience, like Crispin Gray was from Datatel. Melvin Johnson was from Datatel. So we came in as a group, a team, and I was employed as a NOC engineer. I could remember the first day we all arrived at on the 15th of January 2007. We arrived at the Charles office at Port Street, and we were being taken to the Tech Ops, where we call Technical Operation Office at Jomo Kenyatta Road. And a group of us. So I started with people that were novice, complete novice, like Denzel, Melvin, and myself, and with people that had experience, like Crispin, Melvin Johnson, Franklin Durin. Franklin Durin is the elder brother of Adrian Durin. He was a classmate. Adrian was a classmate. So we started, and when I came to the office, I met Ishmaelisk. Ishmaelisk is one of my oldest friends because we went to the same primary school, we went to same secondary school, we went to Fourah Bay College. But because of my route of going to the Polytechnic, doing a diploma in HND, he went straight to Fourah Bay College. When I came to Fourah Bay College, he was in his final year or something, so he was my senior. So he gained employment before me, and I met him at Millicom. And if you know, Ishmael is a very smart person. So I met Ishmael there, but outside Millicom, I had people like Glenn Cole, who was far more senior than me. He was but we grew up in the same year, Ascension Town Exit. He was a telecoms engineer and a very smart person. So he was someone that I looked up to. And even onto generally my engineering aspiration I had an uncle that was a mechanical engineer. He used to work at Sierra Leone, so he used to take me to Utah. So growing up, I was always interested in being an engineer. And when I did my internship at Orange, then the interest for telecoms engineering was it increased. So on being my mentor, you're asking about mentor. The other thing we struggled with at 2006, 2007, GSM was like 6-7 years new in Sierra Leone. So even though I had mentors, the mentors were also learning.
Yeah.
Because the mentors were also learning. So all of us, and there were lots of soft copy materials. And these ZT support guys, when they come, all the materials they give you is like Chinese. Only few interpretation, and interpretation, when they do interpretation from Chinese to English, it's hard to understand. It's hard to comprehend from their explanations. So I learned from guys like Ishmael, Anton Caesar. There was Anton Caesar at the office. There was Suleiman Bangoa. These were senior engineers, but they themselves were new. GSM was new. It was always, when you said someone doing telecommunication, it was Sierra-Tel. And Sierra-Tel was the land phone, old PSTN. And we started, so I was like 6 or 7 years, it was 6 or 7 years after GSM started in Sierra Leone at time, and I started working. So all the time I was like reading materials online, watching YouTube, because that's the advantage of working in this mobile company. You have internet. And the increase in the use of internet started going in the 2000s. So that was an help to me, and I have few people like Ishmael. I could mention Ishmael, I could mention Glenn, I could mention Anton Caesar. These are people I know before working.
Yeah, and you called a few names that I remember. Like you just kind of like jogged my memory there that there are some good guys, like guys who are like really, really good at what they do. And you call some guys from Datatel too, because I did my internship at Datatel. So that's where I met some of these guys that you called, right? And it's just nice that you called their name. But Melo, remember when we joined the like these telecommunication companies back then? Like all the managers, like all the directors, they were all foreigners, right? And then you fast forward today, now Sierra Leoneans are like the managers, the directors, even going up higher now. Like when you kind of like look at the time when we started it and now, and you see the shift in change of how now Sierra Leoneans are now taking on this leadership role. Like I was not around when it happened, right? Because I've already left the country. But what do you attribute all that to? Because you saw it, you experienced it, right? And you're in such a position.
Yes. So as I mentioned, 2006, 2007, GSM was like just 7-8 years in Sierra Leone. There was no way they were going to get any Sierra Leonean to be a CTO, technical director with little or no experience. And when I did internship, there was Iranos Thompson at Orange. He had so much experience, he was senior. But he left, I think he left for Uganda or somewhere. He left and he was out on his expatriate, and a few others left and they were expatriate. So this culture shift, or this change, or this significant change wherein Sierra Leoneans are in strategic position in the telecoms industry, I could associate it with experience and a lot of training and push and hard work. There are a lot of smart telecoms engineers in Sierra Leone, I will tell you. At the moment, the 3 MNOs we have in Sierra Leone, two of them have been led by Sierra Leoneans in the technical department. Orange is being led by Sierra Leone, and QCell is being led by Sierra Leonean. Africell is still a foreigner, but they are senior Sierra Leoneans in strategic positions. So I'll primarily associate it with experience and people ready to push, who are ready to read a lot of training, hard work. So I'm talking about 2007 to 2025. This is literally close to 18 or 20 years. And a lot of them, some of them had the opportunity to work out of Sierra Leone, gain experience, came back. And it's not only all in position in mobile companies. I could tell you there are telecoms engineers in parliament. There are at the moment 4. And because they are telecoms engineers, they are in the parliamentary committee overlooking the telecom sector. And these guys are well experienced, people like Abdul Kagbo, people like Daniel Fona. These are people, very smart people. And these two used to work for planning. When you talk about telecoms, the planning guys are the guys that really do the dirty work. They do a lot of, because rolling out sites and doing stuff like that, these are the things that you need to be up there, because you need to really be smart, or else you get it wrong, you mess the whole network. So I'll say experience, hard work, and the push by very smart engineers in this sector.
Yeah, and it's good to see. I mean, I'm really happy to see that, that we are now taking on these leadership roles. Opportunities are given to us, and we're doing very great at it, doing great jobs at it. So Melvin, you are in a leadership position right now in your organization, and in a way, I'm not exactly sure exactly what you do, but if you could you just kind of like give me just a summary of what your role is and what you do?
Okay, so at the moment, I'm the Deputy Director of Engineering and Infrastructure. So when I was employed, because after Millicom days, Africell bought Millicom over. I worked for like 7 months with Africell. So I was at Africell when I got the employment with NatCa. So I started at NatCa as quality of service and type approval supervisor. After 4 years, I was promoted to manager, and after 3-4 years, I was promoted to senior manager. And like 2 years ago, I got the promotion to deputy director of engineering. So my role at the authority has always been helping with working with quality of service and quality of experience. Because of my background of being a telecoms engineer in these MNOs, I've been given my role is basically monitoring the network of these operators, and I do something that people don't know. They call it type approval. It's type approval, equipment authorization, and homologation. So what is this? ICT equipment being imported into Sierra Leone should be type approval for safety, for AMF, SAR. These are the things we check for to see whether they are up to standards, they meet particular standards to be in a market. So we do that. Unfortunately for Sierra Leone or around Africa, there are only two type approval labs in Tunisia and in Ghana. It's a very expensive lab. So when people apply for type approval, we count on the test labs report they send from China, Germany, Ghana, or Tunisia. We look to, when they apply, even the smartphones, you see, I could tell you there's a company in England that apply for all Apple devices that come to Sierra Leone, the laptops, the phones, whatever you think of. And we do type approval radio devices. We call them SRD, short range devices, PDAs, personal devices, any device that is using frequency that should not be licensed. But we do type approve them so that they come into the market and they are safe for use. So this is primarily my role as an engineer. I do type approval. I've got few other staffs within the unit that I work with, and as the deputy director of engineering, my immediate boss, I guess you know, is Sam Momodu Sewa. He's also a seasoned and experienced engineer. I support him as his deputy. When he's away, I manage the department, and So I'm sure you know what's an ICT regulator. NatCa is an ICT regulator. It's a mix of laws and telecommunications. When you say regulations, it's laws and policies. So the engineering department is the core of the regulator. We come up with technical things after trainings, international meeting conferences. We do best practice. And we do best practice, but equally we domesticate. A law or technical procedures in Ghana cannot work in Sierra Leone 100%. The population of Ghana is 30 million to 8 million. So we go to these trainings, we come back, we recommend, but we consider the population. We cannot ask MNO to pay a regulatory fee the same as what they pay in Nigeria. Nigeria has a population of 200 million. There will not be return on investment for that MNO. So we do all of these things. In the engineering department, people sometimes say, oh, NatCom people travel. It's not about we travel. We benchmark, we go to places, we go to this international conference. We are being governed or controlled by bigger agencies. There is ITU, which is the UN Agency for Telecommunication. There is ATU, African Telecoms Union, for the African Organization for Communication. We deal with WATRA. At the moment, the leadership of WATRA is the DG of NatCa. So this department we work with other engineers from other regulatory authorities because they're experienced. NatCa was formed 2006, 2007. There are some regulatory authorities that were formed in the 90s. So we were still catching up. We are there now to some extent. So the engineering department is the core, and the management and the board count on us so much to advise positively and to advise how best the sector is being regulated well.
Thank you, Melvin, for such a deep, detailed explanation of what you do. It seems really interesting, right? I haven't been part of the telecommunication industry for a while now, so I'm getting cobwebs here. I'm trying to catch up as you go through these things. But it's really interesting to hear all of this from you. But I think I want to focus a little bit on leadership, right? And I know you've been a leader for a while. Probably before I even met you, you've already been a leader in some capacity. Right, and now you're in such a position where you're a leader in your environment and in your community. I think the question I have for you is like, where are your influences on your leadership style? And of course, if you can just tell me about your leadership style and how you grow your team or how you develop your team, that would be nice. But also, like, what were your influences in terms of your leadership? Right? Who do you feel like influenced you when you were like young, developing your leadership skills, things like that?
Okay, so the one thing I normally say to people is leadership. There's a close relationship with leadership and experience. In terms of my present role on my day-to-day activity, I think because of my experience in the sector and in that office, the burden of leadership, I handled it very well. But growing up again, I had a few people around me. As I mentioned, Glenn was at Comium, and he rose to the position of manager. He was very smart and he had this very good interpersonal relationship with staff. And my leadership style, I try to be professional, but I do consider that not all your staff are on the same level. So within me, I'm very smart. Within talking to Odofin just a day or 20, 30 minutes, I know what I should expect from Odofi and what I should ask Odofi to do. So I interact a lot. And me being an extrovert, when I come into a room or come into an office, within the shortest possible time, I figure out the people I could gain from, I figure out the people that would gain from me, and I figure out people that we could share idea. So my leadership styles is basically, I talk to my staff when they are at task. I talk to people, I share, I pick their brain. I share. I said, this is on the table. What can we do? And most of the time, my output comes from what I gather from colleagues, people from outside. And I've got a very good relationship with telecoms engineers in regulatory authorities all around Africa. Even the masters I did, it was based on networking and a good relationship. I had a friend in the Nigerian Regulatory Authority. We were talking and he told me, I'm doing masters with New Buckinghamshire University in England. It's a master's in communication management. It's good for our job. And he mentioned to me, he told me, and interestingly, Melvin, you're going to get part scholarship for it because you work for the regulatory. That was how I enrolled. So talking about leadership, my leadership patterns are like, I consult my peers, I talk to people, my seniors, and I'm a good listener as well. I don't look at myself as being a leader. I'll just, when I talk to people, what they say, I ignore. No, it does not work like that for me. I trust the team and I believe whatever I gather from them could influence our output. Because we don't reinvent the wheel. Most of these things are there. So sometimes with your team, you just talk with your team and you get a better result. And the praise comes for the team, even though you've been the leader. Because when things go bad, you're the leader, you're being blamed. But equally, the team looks bad because they should support the team.
That's good. That's really good. I can really relate with that, and I think if you are somebody who works within that environment where you have a leader that is going to have a conversation with you, you're definitely going to excel in what you do, and you're going to be brave enough to say, "Hey, Mr. Manager or Mr. Director, this is the idea I have." Right? And Melvin, you're talking about the burden of leadership, how you handle it well. That's something that in my own experience, sometimes I also struggle with that, handling the burden of leadership, in the sense that sometimes you're afraid to make the wrong mistake, or you're afraid to like make a decision that does not, you want it to be to suit everybody else. Like everybody's going to be happy with your decision. Like how do you, in your own way, handle the burden of leadership? Because that's, I think, a lot of people struggle with that.
Okay. Well, I'll give you some tips. So, what me firstly, I consider there are a few things you should know. That being a good leader, first of all, self-care. What do I mean by that? Physically, mentally, emotionally, you should prepare yourself for leadership. How do you prepare? You don't want to be leading people that knows more than you. They're smarter than you. They could be smarter than you, but keep your game up. We're in. So with me, even though I play a lot and I joke a lot, there are times I think I want to know. I'm always in that research mood, always in that mood to watch videos. I watch videos on telecoms. I ask around. So with self-care, I try to develop myself and I try to put myself up to speed with what's around me. Secondly, we need to embrace challenges. Challenges comes at work. Challenges come at place of recreation. Challenges come at with family. So you need to embrace challenges. That is sure to come. Thirdly, we need to be proactive. Clarity and proactiveness. What you have to do or what's needed to be done, we need to be clear about that. You don't assume you know, and you don't assume the team knows. Be clear and proactive. And you should also learn as leader to build up your team. Learn to share tasks. Break tasks into bits and give to everybody. So these are the way I handle the burden of leadership. Self-care, myself. Try to step up all the time. Read. There are times I know I've been, at the moment as I speak to you, I am planning to go into something else, to start a different course that's not too engineering related, but it's good for managerial role. So it's not MBA. People might say MBA, but this is what I do. Self-care, you develop emotionally, mentally, physically. Then secondly, you don't joke with mentor. In as much you mentor people, there are people that should be your mentor, that you contact them, you reach out to them. Odofi, even at my position, I don't trust my English, I don't trust my knowledge of telecommunication. When I do work, I just submit. No. I get people to proofread. Because you don't, as you mentioned, you don't want to make the mistakes. I could write very well because I had very good English growing up. Even when I took the GC, I had very good results. But because I know these are documents that could be published, these are documents for the sector, you don't want to get it wrong. When I finish writing, I share. Sometimes I share my document with my junior. Sometimes I share with my senior within the office so that we just discuss. There are things the person proofreading could see that you could not see. So self-care, mentorship, like seniors above you that could advise you. You embrace challenges, learn to build your team, like share ideas with your team, deliberating things to people. These are things that could help you. Clarity and proactiveness. As leader, don't learn to wait. When things go wrong, you correct it. Be ahead.
Sure. I think those are very good. These are very good qualities that you just highlighted. I can relate with some of them as well, right? But I think I relate more with the clarity and also keeping up on your knowledge and not being complacent, because the world is moving at such a tremendous pace, right? So you always have, and technology moves in such a fast way that you always have to constantly learning, constantly building up that skill set and all. So those are very good qualities, Melvin. Thank you very much for sharing that. I think I want to also get into the question that I think I'm interested in is that, like, you're trying to hire somebody, right? You have certain qualities and things that you probably seen that person during the interview or during the application process, that you go like, okay, I like this person. I like this person to work for me. So I'm just thinking, in your case, what do you look for when you're trying to hire like a young engineer coming out of school or something like that? Like, what do you look for in these days?
Okay, I'll respond to this question in two ways. What do I look for, and what does my office look for?
Okay.
First I start with what my office looks for, the regulatory authority. As you know, we are not operational engineering in our office. We're like a telecoms management office. So experience counts. I think there are only, in the history of NatCa, when NatCa started in 2006, 2007, there's only been 2 or 3 engineers that were employed straightly from university. So NatCa employing engineers, experience count. A classmate of mine was employed like 6 or 7 months ago. So this is what we look at, because we want people to come to the regulatory authority with an experience from the sector, so that when they come into a meeting with a sector player, when the sector player is talking, you know what he's saying, and he's saying the truth or he's saying the lie, and you could regulate him well. You understand? So the authority looks for experience. I think I don't say the other departments like the finance, the admin, the procurement, and other departments, but the engineering departments, experience counts. In the past, it's only 2 or 3 engineers that were employed straightly from college. All the others, we came in with some experience from the sector. Me, when I'm in a panel, I look at your composure. I look at what you say about teamwork. I ask critical questions like, if you're in an office wherein a colleague does not know what to do in this task, what do you do? Your response is important to me. Like, you're ready to bring that colleague up to speed. You're ready to share materials with him. You're ready to discuss. So teamwork is important. And there's another important question in interview. What do you want to be in the next 3, 4, 5 years? The vision of people. I talk to you. I want to know, what's your vision? What are your plans? So even with my kids that are 10, 11 years, I talk to them. I ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? I know what they're saying is not what they're going to be, because some of us, when we're growing up, we say, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a... We say it, but it's not what happens at the end. But as grown-ups in interviews, when I talk to you, I just want, there are things I look at. Your vision, how much you're ready to work with a team. Teamwork is important. So that's
Right.
my approach here.
Right. Right. You're right. You're right. Teamwork is very important. Very important because I mean, you can go so far alone, but you can go even further with your team, right? So it's that's very important. So, Melvin, this has been like a very good conversation, such an eye opener. Um, I think the question I have, like, when you kind of, I mean, like we met at year three, but I mean, your journey started way, way earlier than that. And I was just, when you look at, starting off, maybe at grammar school and working your way through Milton all the way to Fourah Bay College and all the way to Comium and not Comium, Millicom, and now where you are currently, working in as a regulator and working with these great minds in Sierra Leone. What would you say are the ingredients, or what's your recipe for your success?
Wow. Firstly, I'll associate it with different things. Firstly, I had a family mentor. Garnet has always been a mentor to me, my elder brother. He's a year and 11 months older than me. He was always ahead of me. And he has always been an example. If you know, Garnet is more of an introvert. He's very calm, but he gets things done. He's not in a rush. He's not that outgoing kind of person like me. He has always been an inspiration. Secondly, and most importantly, what people don't know, we lost our daddy in 1995. And I'm the last son to three boys, and the most troublesome. I know I'm very, very much troublesome. My mommy would always talk to me, and I had that sympathy for her. I had that sympathy for my mommy. So in as much I was troublesome, in as much I am that outgoing person, there are times I sit back and I talk to myself that I have a goal that I want to be an engineer. I have a goal that I want to, this is my path. And my elder brother, Garnet, the immediate elder brother, I've got an older brother, he has always been an example. My choice of school was not grammar school. Because I was next to Prince of Wales, I wanted to go to Prince of Wales. But my parents said, look, Garnet is going to grammar school. You have to go to grammar school. Because we've been to the same schools, Kingaman, Tawel, and they say, you can't go to Prince of Wales, he's going to grammar school. That was how I chose. And that was a very good decision by the parents, and I'm sure I didn't regret it. So my inspiration has been my elder brother, my uncle that I met. Uncle is not my biological uncle, but he got married to my aunt, and he was an engineer at Sierra Leone. And he was taking me to Sierra Leone in the late 80s for vacation. And you see the respect they had for engineers at Sierra Leone those years, and he was mechanical engineer. Because when you talk about engineers back then, a whole class of mechanical engineering, maybe like 12, 8. So the numbers that we graduated as engineer were very small. If you could remember, when we started year 3, we were 36 in class. A particular lecturer kept telling us, this number is too much. We don't want all of you. Some of you need to go to electrical. Some of you need to go to mechanical. So I had this interest from this elite profession I saw with my uncle working at Sierra Leone engineer, how much he's been respected. When there are problems at the dredge, at 2 a.m. in the morning, you see they come with car to pick him up. He was so respected. They said, engineer, we are here for you. So this respect, these were things that motivated me. And lastly, and after that sympathy for my mom, looking at the life of my uncle, Garnet being my elder brother, when I started making family, I wanted the best for my kids. That was another drive. I wanted the best for my kids. I wanted to be an example. I talked to them. Even my son, seeing him go to grammar school, I was part of his studying for NPSC. I could tell people, questions in NPSC papers from 2000 to date because I participated in his studying. So this was another drive. I wanted him, I've calculated his year, I wanted him to be at the grammar school celebration 108 years. The only way that could happen for him to make the grade, for me not to have a reason to go beg the principal that I want you to accept my son, so I helped him. So how could I be an example? Keep working hard, study, keep myself up to date, be an example to them. So when I started, all my motivation, inspiration, my drive with family, with kids, it increased because I want to be an example. They're relocated, they're in the US. I'm here to see them and I'm on vacation. So even when they're in the US, at end of their school day, I had to do video call with them, because my son is in middle school, grade 6, and they do all these inequalities and things. I know so much about their education because I follow them. So this is an inspiration. There are times I want to be lazy because they come with some of this homework that I've done years ago. I have to go to YouTube and places to see how best I could help them. So that's about my motivation.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good, Melvin. And I can attest to the fact that you I mean you stay focused and you stay like in touch with what your kids are doing, because I remember last year when we were about trying to get this conversation going, you had to like put a pause on it and you're like, hey, I got to get my boy to pass his MPSC exam. We'll reconnect some other time. And I just wanted to bring that up because it reminds me of that. But thank you so much, Melvin, for just sharing what your ingredient or your motivation or inspiration to your success is. But I have one final question. What is it about Ascension Town, guys? Ascension Town, because you guys produced so much back then. Like you had like Okon, you had Hafna, you had who again? Like Denzel, like that Ascension Town area. You guys were just producing like good quality people. Like so. One final question: what is it about Ascension Town?
We have Glenn as well. You didn't mention Glenn.
Glenn, yes, Glenn. Yes.
So we had this. I wouldn't say small. I wouldn't say big community, and most of us were at Prince of Wales or grammar school. We were very close, and we our relationship and our bond get closer when they had the that's 97 or 98 coup, when there were not much schools. So we will move. And you didn't even mention another person, Marcel Taylor Lewis. Marcel Taylor Lewis was
Marcel, yeah.
So
Marcel, yes.
so we could, and most of us, the names you mentioned, most of us are actually engineers. So we could move house to house, play video games, play sport, we joke, and most of us had interest in lifting weights as well. There was this area gym that we call Adnet Century. The equipment were not up to date, not standard, but we could go there. So we had this, you'll see there are times during the day we are together, talking, playing games, and later on you see after now we say, okay, I'm going back home, I've got an homework to do, I have to go study. So it's not an option. You see the people you were sitting with, the next minute they want to go study, they have lessons. So to keep up, you have to go do something for yourself as well. So we had this bond, and it was not. We had a little. I would say we had competition among ourselves to push and to get the best and to achieve the best. But we were cool. We were like very close. We had, even with Okon. Okon was literally next to us, and it was, for interestingly, Okon was closer to Garnet than me. They are very close, and they're still close. Very close. In as much he was my classmate, but he was closer to Garnet. So I think this life by example around ourselves, and we joke, we play, but we motivate each other. Desmond and I were in the same compound. We would talk, and when I was at grammar school, he was at PO, we would come, today we started calculus. So we'll talk about these things. And we'll share ideas. We'll talk about people in school are performing well, people are example. So we had this zeal, and we had this competitive spirit within us, but it's not a jealous spirit, but something to push each other. So that was, yes.
Yeah, I agree. Even though I was not, I was of course growing up in a different neighborhood, but it was very similar, right? Being friends and being able to uplift each other through, you know, through the ambitions that we had individually. So I mean, I can definitely relate with that. And yeah, you Ascension Town, yeah, for sure. You guys produce some great guys out there. Yeah, and thanks for naming some few names that I missed out. All right, Melo. Now we get to the fun part. Now I ask you a few questions.
Now, before the
Maybe
fun part, let me just remind you of something. So when I
uh-huh.
came to Fourah Bay College, year 3, and we had Tatolubanga, Dr. Ba, all these lectures that were like pulling out, pushing us, stretching us, and all things. I could remember that. I want to give that credit to you. I could remember when we had our first exams, and Mr. Bango had been stressing all of us. Then, even because of my physicality or whatever, when I started that class, we are 6 in that class that came from Miltemarai, but he only knew me. And he keeps saying, he keep calling me, Mr. MMCT, come to the board, Mr. MMCT. Until the day I said, oh, Mr. Bango, I like my name. I'm Mr. King, Melvin King. Stop calling me Mr. MMCT. Then we all laughed about it. But the thing I want to remind you of, when we had that first semester exams, we were 36 in class. And it was only 6 people that passed all subjects. And guess what? My OCR was part of it. Thumbs up to you. You are very calm and smart. I could remember you are among the 6 that passed all the subjects. And I was like, all of you sound so very quiet and calm. Is that sharp? And we're like, you see someone asking the other, Melvin, you pass everything. Then you say this was I have 6 or 5 references, I have 3, I have 2. And it was only 6 in the class that passed all the subjects. Do you remember that? You remember that?
No. I don't.
Okay,
But
so
anyways, but it was reminder though, because I know year 3 was tough. You know, year 3 was tough, and getting all those subjects to go into electrical was even harder. And talking about Tolo Bangura, Dr. Ba, oh my God,
yeah.
I don't even want to talk about those days.
I know.
Yeah. All right, Melvin. I just have a few quick questions for you, impromptu questions, and yeah, and let's run with it. Okay, so you're Man United fan, right?
Nope. Arsenal. Gunners!
Arsenal?
Yeah.
Gunners? Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to debate in between the two. I was debating in between the two whether it was Arsenal or whether it was Manchester, but I just couldn't remember. All right. So in 3 words, describe your season. Describe in 3 words. Describe this season for Arsenal.
A failure. I would say a failure. The second word would be injuries.
Okay, giving excuses.
Injuries and failure. Injuries affected us, and lastly, I think the management was a little bit stubborn to buy a striker in January.
Melo,
So,
that's more than 3 words.
okay, well, in 3 words, our season generally was a failed season.
Okay.
And secondly, a stubborn management.
Okay, stubborn management. Okay, do you agree to what is being said on social media, that watching Arsenal is like Netflix? You always have to wait for the next season.
Well, I can't deny that, because that has been the situation for the last 4 or 5 years. We're more than 15 or 18 years not winning the EPL. So so keep waiting. We've been close like 3 years in a row, but nothing happens.
Next season.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, Melo, second question: how do you balance work, life, and family, or how do you spend your downtime, basically?
So I'll start with the last one. As my downtime, basically, I go to the gym, Um, I I do it my hobbies. Like I like watching basketball. I like watching sports. I watch news as well. This is what I do during my downtime. With work and life and family, my a balance. First of all, I set clear boundaries. I try to do my office work at office. When am there, I set targets based on priority, deadlines, and urgencies. So I try to do what's are important and urgent at the moment. I do a to-do list. Even though you see me play around a lot, I do a to-do list on Sunday evening for the week and a to-do list for the week and per day, what I want to do. So with that, I don't go wrong with my time for work. And people know me at my office. When it's time to go home at 5, even my seniors could say, "Ah, Melvin, you're a director now. You should be around a while." But I try to do what I can do during the day, and when it's time to go home, I go home. I don't mix my. I set clear boundaries between my work time and my time to spend with my family and my friends and my social life. And my downtime is when I go to. I try to go to the gym Monday to Friday. If I don't go in the morning before going to work, I go after. I go late at night because the gym closes at around 12. So I go between 10 and 12. And Saturdays and Thursdays are days that I do cardio exercise, like I swim or I play football. So these are things I do during my downtime. So in terms of the work-life balance, setting clear boundaries, know what should be done. When I come home, I hardly check my office email. I might check it in the morning or around midnight if I wake up to watch basketball. I'll
Mhm.
check to see if there is anything that I could address, but I try to keep my laptop away. I'll check my office email on my phone, but not all the time. So I try to do what I can do within my office hours, try to see how best I could get more people into the task on the floor, deliberate things to colleagues. So when I get home, and I try to be professional, as in keeping professional relationship at the office so that people don't get me to work much after working hours.
I think those are very good things that you just said, boundaries, and all the other things you do with sports and deliberation tasks and all of those things. I think these are really good things I also like the to-do list. I think that one surprised me. The weekly to-do list and the daily to-do list, yes, it has come, but the weekly to-do list, I think that was surprising, and I think that's something good. I might take that. And then I think final question, Melo, is I think the question I have for you is if there's any kid out there, who's like kind of like listening to you or who kind of like look to you, in some way or form as an inspiration, and who like has a dream of becoming an engineer, or let's say for especially a telecoms engineer, like what would your advice be to that person?
The two words would be research and reading and networking. Networking is part of telecommunication generally. If you network, you cannot do it all by yourself. You mentioned in one of your questions that when you started working, you met people like 12 senior engineers that you spoke with. You cannot do it in isolation. You can't say, because there are some materials you may not know, but people with more experience will say, okay, I saw this somewhere. This could help you with information on fiber optics. This could help you with information on PSTN. So my advice is there is no hidden secret. This is a very fast moving sector, telecommunication ICT. There's still more. We are not 5G is not rolled out in Sierra Leone that much. There are trials going on, and the world are thinking about 6G. So you cannot get it right without doing research. You do research, you read a lot, and networking. There are senior people in the sector. I could also tell you that I learned from Ian Thompson when was doing the internship. So networking, researching, and try to get as much material you could get and read.
Well said, Melo. Anyway, Melo, we come to the end, and I just want to say thank you very much for sharing, um, your point of view, your journey, and what it takes to succeed in your case. I think those are very good qualities that you just shared with me. Some of them I'll take for sure. And then, you know, when I met you, you're talking about networking. When I met you, I think that was one of the first things I noticed about you, how easy it is for you to reach out to people and how easy it is for you to connect with people. And I mean, I didn't learn that then. I mean, I got to learn it a little bit later on in life. But I have to say that that's a very, very key and important thing when dealing with people and when working with a team and if you want to grow and succeed. So I just want to say thank you very much, Melo. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I mean, finally, after a year, we get to do this, and it was worth it. And I just want to say thank you very much.
Thank you, Dofi, and thanks for the patience. We've been waiting for long, and I think it's an exciting program. And I'll be waiting to see the final version of our recording. And thank you, Dofi. All the best.
Thank you.
I can show you how to be strong.